This week on the Organized Life Podcast.
Yeah. You also need a level of self-acceptance too.
Mm.
You don't always have to like where you are. However, in order to
Yeah.
make any change about it, you have to accept this is where I'm starting from. It's not where I'm going to end up if I make a choice to do something different. So it's not that final sentence. It's like, oh, okay, I don't love that this is where I am, but I
Mm.
know that my choices brought me here, which empowers me to be able to know that my choices can get me out of this into something I do actually like or I do actually love. God forbid we actually love our life, not just tolerate it, right?
Hey, 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 and welcome to the Organized Life Podcast, where we are creating a movement with powerful organizing strategies and systems that save you space, time, energy, and money. I am your host, Tequila Renee, the life organizing strategist, professional organizer, and owner of Extreme Audacity Organized Solutions. I'm so excited to be with you guys again today to continue this journey of creating the organized life. Not just about our spaces, not just about getting our Pinterest pretty. I always get tongue tied when I say that. I don't know why I keep trying. And so we're just not getting our spaces organized. We are creating a life full of peace, productivity that is pushing us towards purpose. And today I am joined by my special guest, Charissa. And Charissa, I just forgot how to pronounce your last name that fast after you just told me. So would you please tell the people how to pronounce your last name? I'm so bad with last names.
Like I told you off camera, I had to ask my husband before we were married how to say his last name. So I get it. It's Halonen.
Halonen.
You got it.
Yeah, and it's gonna leave me just that as fast as I got it. But listen, you guys, Carissa, she is an empowerment coach. And Carissa, would you please tell the Organized Life listeners more about what that means for you, your field of expertise, and how you got started inside that field?
Absolutely. So empowerment is really, I'm showing people the tricks each day to be able to take your power back. Because a lot of times it's the little simple things that if we get them going, we can create that momentum in our life. So it's really just showing people positive habits that will take them out of feeling stuck, overwhelmed, or disempowered in their life and using
Mm.
that to create some peace amongst the chaos that life likes to bring us. And I've come to this place. I've been a massage therapist for 19 years. So I've worked one on one with people for quite a long time. And I bridged into coaching 3 years ago. And it's really just showing that other side of life to people because what I noticed when I was treating people on the table is we were really leaning into the therapist part of things and helping them work through places that they might get stuck. And so I really jumped into creating a program that had mindset, movements, and nutrition in it to really just help
Mm.
dial in the fundamental pillars that cause people to get stuck. So it's really just showing, and what for me embodiment means is you're doing it alongside people. So what I'm asking people to do is the same things that I'm also doing. I'm using these tools each and every day. I've implemented them with my stepkids and my husband, and it's really just embodying those practices instead of just taking all the learning and putting it like more books
Mm.
on your bookshelf and feeling overwhelmed because now I have this information, but I haven't learned how to put it into practice as I go along in my container so that I can move away from the container feeling like I have those
Mm.
tools. So I'm a really big fan of how do we get you to integrate this while you have support so that if you stub your toe, which naturally we all will, that you
Mm-hmm.
can come in and ask those questions like, oh, okay, so I did this and this is a result I got. And it's like, all right, we need to attempt this way, or let's try it. What if you did this first? Or what do you need to let go of in order to be able to move forward? Right. A lot of times people want to transform in life, but they try to take their old habits and their old identity with them because it's comfortable, but not able to create that new life because the old habits will never get you to your next level. They get you to a certain place, and then we have to move on from there. So that's what I teach people how to do.
Nice. So you do this as a holistic approach, right? And holistic meaning our body, minds. And I really love that. And so that's how I am with the approach of organization because I feel like it's not just about your physical space, right? It's about how you get up in the morning, how you go to bed at night, how you prepare for the next day, how you get your children involved. It's a holistic approach, and I love that.
Yeah, if you don't have all your systems involved, like your mind, your body, and your soul, you're not going to create long-lasting change. It'll just be for a brief period of time, and then you're going to get pulled back in. You really need to integrate all of those things for it to have that momentum to move forward.
Yeah. So, from your perspective, how does the way we manage ourselves internally influence how organized our lives can be externally?
It has a huge impact. I actually look at people's spaces and you can tell whether they have self control, self awareness, or if they're really just
Mm,
allowing their situation to kind of dictate what's going on. So if you are in inner turmoil, there's going to be a lot of chaos around you. Things are going to be unorganized. You're not going to have your clothes put away. There's going to be piles of stuff. Like, I'm going to get to that later. Let's be honest, you're not going to get to it. So if you have that awareness in yourself and you're working on yourself every day, you're not going to want to live in a situation that feels like chaos around you or feels cluttered. So you'll have a little ritual of, okay, I'm putting my iPod over here and I'm putting my phone over here. Definitely just aged myself with the iPod. And
yeah.
my clothes for the morning go over here, right? And so
Yeah.
it's just having that self-respect for yourself will show up in your external environment because everything will really have a home and it will feel
Hmm.
comfortable. It will feel like this place that you want to spend time. Versus if you're really not feeling well in yourself, there's going to be chaos around you. And one of the quickest ways to actually get back to peace in yourself is to clean up your area and get everything more
Mm.
organized. That immediately lets your nervous system feel calm, peaceful, and you can breathe.
Yes, I love that. All of that. I often talk about self awareness, and I love that you keep bringing that up because you gotta be self aware in order to get from here to there. You gotta know where you are, right? In order to figure out, okay, yeah, I don't want to be here. Now let me go, let me do something, anything to get to there or somewhere else that I would want to be, right? So being self aware is so important to me.
Yeah. You also need a level of self acceptance too.
Mm.
You don't always have to like where you are. However, in order to make
Yeah.
any change about it, you have to accept this is where I'm starting from. It's not where I'm going to end up if I make a choice to do something different. So it's not that final sentence. It's like, oh, okay, I don't love that this is where I am, but I
Mm.
know that my choices brought me here, which empowers me to be able to know that my choices can get me out of this into something I do actually like or I do actually love. God forbid we actually love our life, not just tolerate it, right?
Right. Yeah, I love that self acceptance. Um, one of the things you said when we talked a little while ago is how you do one thing is how you do everything, and I love that. How does that philosophy show up in everyday life when someone is trying to create more structure, discipline, or even intentionality in their life?
Really just look at how do you do your small things? Like, do you put your toothbrush back in the holder where you got it from, or do you just let it lie on the counter? Or, like, I'm going to put my dishes in the dishwasher later, but for now, I'm just going to put them on the counter over here. It's when you let those little things that seemingly do not matter become things that you negotiate on. That means you're going to negotiate on the really big things because you've
Mm.
practicing that habit of pretty much anything becomes negotiable. And we see this a lot with people not showing up for themselves in their lives because for some
Mm.
reason, it's really encouraged by society to be the negotiable thing in your life. because we're trying to go outward a lot. We're doing a lot of things for a lot of people or wanting to build these big dreams, or some people have families. All of those things where it's like, if I go outwards, then I'll get poured back into. And it's not true, because you're actually teaching people with not pouring into yourself that they don't need to pour into you. Right. So those little habits backfire, because truly how you do the smallest thing is going to be how you do everything. You might have the best of intentions when you first start out in cleaning your house or running your business, but quickly it's going to be like, oh, that's okay. I can respond to those emails later. Or, that laundry can stay there for another 2 days. And then you start looking around, you're like, I do this everywhere, because you're willing to not put your toothbrush back where you got from.
That's so good. I love that. And you talked about we show people how to treat us, right? And I think that that's so important to highlight, is because a lot of times we don't realize that we've taught somebody that it was okay to treat us that certain way. So I want you to talk a little bit more about that.
Absolutely. So the way that we show people how to treat us is people watch how we treat ourselves, because that really is the standard that you're setting for people, because they learn from observation. That's how we start learning everything from 0 to 7 in years. We learn by observation. So when you see me, be last in conversation, or I make sure everybody else is good, and then I'm like, oh, I don't really quite have what I need, but I'll just make the best of it. It's showing you that I'm going to put up with the bare minimum. So then your brain registers these things because it's observing that it's like, oh, no, she's good. Yeah, she's good. She doesn't need anything. She's a strong one. That's my favorite thing that people will say is that person is strong. It's like, okay, but how did they get there? Because everybody relies on them, but because they're always doing for others and never doing for themselves, nobody's around for them to lean on. So it's really just understanding the most impactful relationship you have is with yourself, because it truly does set the tone for every relationship, whether it be a business relationship, a friendship, an intimate relationship, business colleagues. Any of those things come from how do you treat yourself?
Yeah, I love that. So your work focuses on embodying and reclaiming your personal power. So you're kind of talking about that. How does someone begin doing that? How do they begin like creating this organized life when their mindset or even their self-belief, it feels scattered and maybe even overwhelmed?
So realizing that you've given your power away is one of the first fundamental things of like, okay, was I trying to do something so I would get externally validated from somebody else? Was I,
Self-awareness.
overgiving here? And it's really just looking without judgment at how are you moving through life right now? Because if you feel disempowered, you have given your power away. So where did you give your power away? Right. And really just looking at that unique experience for that person, and then teaching you that it's okay. We accept that I gave my power away. Now, how do I bring that back? And that goes hand in hand with radical accountability and radical honesty, because you didn't get to the situation because of something somebody else did.
Right.
You got here where you are today, good, bad, or indifferent, because of the choices that you made and continue to make to this day, right? We're always building habits no matter what we do, whether it's a positive habit or a negative habit. Our body likes to work on autopilot. So even if you're not making a choice, that's still creating a habit, because we're never not making a habit. So you're just needing to look at what habit am I truly building by the actions that I'm taking right now. So in a lot of ways, it can be quite confronting for people, because they're like, well, if I take accountability for this, that means I'm responsible for the misery that I feel right now.
Right.
And I'm like, yes, that's amazing though, because if you created it, you can change it.
Yes.
But if you're telling me that your mom created this, because how I was raised and all of these things, then you have no power to change it because somebody outside of you is making your life this way. And
Mm.
you'll never be able to create that happiness that you want because it's somebody else's fault. We all get dealt a hand of cards that we have no control over. It's what you do with those cards that gives that
Mm.
control back to you in your life because you can only really control your thoughts, your actions, and your effort in life. Everything else is uncontrollable by us. So it's just really bringing people back to themselves and being able to sit with themselves with a mirror
Yeah,
so that they can be like, oh, this doesn't suck as much as I think it is, because once you own it, you can change it.
that's
So
right.
it's not feeling like this is going to be a forever thing. And it's only scary for a couple minutes, but having people like myself sitting with you with no
Yeah.
judgment allows you to be able to be like, okay, I can make this change.
Mm. Community. I love that.
Yeah.
I also love what you said. You said, you're never, now I want you to correct me because I know I'm not going to get it right. You're never not making a habit. Did you say that?
Yep.
Ah, I love that. Like, it's so true.
Yeah. And it's asking
Yeah.
yourself, what habit am I making right now? Am I
Yeah.
choosing the habit of doing things a half-hearted way, or am I going full tilt into the direction I want?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I so love that. And that conversation is great segue to what I'm about to ask you. So you've experienced significant personal transformation, right? From your health challenges to rebuilding your life through discipline and mindset. How did creating structure and intentional habits, how did that help you move from survival to alignment?
It created belief in myself, right? I've had a mentor that he said, he's like, borrow my belief until you can regain your own. But
Ooh.
by being consistent and doing the thing that I said I was going to do, no matter how I feel about it. Because what I feel tomorrow morning will be very different than what I feel tonight.
Mm.
But, showing up and going to the gym, even though I didn't want to, even though I
Ugh.
had every excuse under the sun not to go, it's reminding myself of like, oh, I feel so much better after I do my workout. So, but in order to get to the after, I have to do the do. And it was just proving to myself that I can do what I say I'm going to do for myself. I know I can
Mm.
do it for everybody else in the world, but can I keep my promise to myself? And then the more days that you do that, you actually are like, holy crap, there's nothing I can't do. Right. And it really truly,
Mhm.
what starts you into that, like what started me going to the gym was not what kept me there by the sixth month. Because
Yeah.
how much self-respect I felt by that point, because that's really what's being cultivated is self-belief and huge amounts of self-respect. Because it's
Mm.
like, yeah, I do what I say I'm going to do because I am worthy of doing that. And so it's
Mm.
constantly pouring into yourself, which feels uncomfortable at first because I definitely had the mindset if I pour into others, then they would pour into me, and nobody ever did because
Ugh.
I wasn't pouring into me. So I was giving a bad example and I was getting what I was exampling. So I'm like,
Oh.
okay, I have to pour into me. And that was going to the gym and eating healthy and taking better care of myself mentally, physically, and emotionally. But it's like I'm 7.5 years in of using macros as a tool, going to the gym, and all of those things. And I feel absolutely unstoppable because I've been
Mm.
believing in myself every day, no matter how I felt, for the last 7.5 years.
Love that.
And
You
you
guys,
literally become unstoppable.
yeah. So in order to become unstoppable, you guys, you got to do the do.
Yeah. And if you do the do long enough, it doesn't feel like a chore because you know what it feels on the back end and you're like, oh yeah, I can't wait to get that after workout feeling. Or like, yeah, I feel really good. I nourished myself with my food today. I don't have to punish myself later.
Yeah, you create it as a lifestyle.
Yeah. I created a life that I don't want to avoid.
Love that. So one thing you mentioned that really stood out to me is how clearing physical clutter can shift mental energy. Why do you believe that organizing your environment has such a powerful impact on your peace, clarity, and even your productivity?
There's two ways to look at this because I know not everybody is not into the energetics. So there's also physics, right? So when in terms of physics, an object in motion stays in motion until it meets an equal or opposite force. So if there is
Say that
nothing in
again.
an object in motion stays in motion until it meets an equal or opposite force. So
Ah.
it's one of Newton's law. So if you're going about a room and there's clutter, there's going to be an
Yep.
opposite force right away. So nothing can move about the room freely because it's hitting restriction after restriction after restriction. So it feels really like anxious and constraining
Mm.
for the people that do believe in energy and things like that, is that there's more space for breathing to happen in a room that has less clutter and things
Mm.
intentionally have a home and you're intentional about the things that you're placing there. It's not just a random sock on the counter and a half broken jar over there. You're choosing things that vibrate as the person you are and the things that you enjoy. So having, I love this beautiful painting behind me that says live your purpose,
Mm-hmm.
right? So really being choosy of what am I representing with the things that I'm choosing to have in my space? Are they adding to the person I want to become or how I want to feel in a day? Or are they just there and they don't really have a purpose? Because there's an energy behind both of those. And it's
Mm.
really understanding that I get to be the designer of my life, not just
Yeah.
in what I wear, how I speak, but my spaces. And the more I'm choosy with what my space looks like, of like, how does this represent me? How does this support what I am aiming to create with my life? Because even for, our entrepreneurs that are moms, what does your space feel like when you get home? Does it feel like another
Mm-hmm.
chaotic thing that you have to jump into and try and put fires out? Or is it a place of peace that you come home to from working and then it's all settled, which actually helps the family members be settled too, because they're impacted by how that space feels for them?
Yeah. Ah, that's so good. Ah. All right, Carissa, we're going to do this little fun thing that I started. It's called Flip the Mic, where you get an opportunity to ask me a question. I've been asking you all these questions. Now you get an opportunity to ask me a question. So, flipping the mic to you.
So, my question for you is, what has been the most impactful thing for you about organizing your life?
It's given me confidence. I've always been organized in my physical space, but I still felt like my life was a mess. My calendar was probably the biggest thing. My schedule, overbooking myself, not saying no, saying yes to everything and everybody because I wanted to be there, what you were just talking about, for everything and everybody, and I wasn't taking care of myself. When I started commanding my schedule and my time and saying yes to the things that were pushing me towards peace, productivity, and purpose, and I started saying no to the things that were draining me, life just changed, completely shift. I was a single parent of two boys, and they're really close in age, but not close enough to be on the same teams. So they were both athletes, and I was literally driving from one basketball gym to another one. It could be an hour away just to make it to a game. I could be just leaving work and flying to get to the football games, and I could never say no to my kids, and it was so draining. And I actually made it through that. I actually didn't realize how much I needed to command my schedule until they were driving themselves. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so peaceful. I don't have to pick them up. I don't have to drop them off. Oh, like it was like, oh my gosh. So before that, I was still kind of organizing my schedule, putting everything on there so I could make it to everything, right? But when I started just stop doing things that was just like draining me, it was like I love life now. It's so much more peaceful when you're doing things that's pushing you towards purpose, and you feel like you're really creating the life you love. So that was probably the biggest change, is commanding my schedule and my time.
It sounds like it created an opportunity for you to be more intentional when you saw your outcome, when you were just saying yes to everything versus how do I want to feel? How do I
Yes.
want to fill this space? Especially when they start driving with that extra space. It's like, okay, am I just going to fill it with more things?
Yes.
Or am I going to take it as an opportunity to be like, what do I want to do with this?
Yeah. I started dancing, Carissa, and so I've
Yeah.
always been a dancer, but I had stopped dancing years ago. But then I somebody invited me out to dance, and I started Detroit ballroom and Chicago stepping and line dancing and all these different things. And I was in heaven. It was so fun. And then to your point, I didn't know how much I needed that until it actually I like fell into it. And so this past Christmas break, I fell into an opportunity to have like 2 weeks off, no work, no clients, no podcasting. And girl, I will never not do that again. I'm taking two minimum of 2 weeks off at the end of the year. Minimum. Somebody once somebody was I was talking to said they take 6 weeks off. I was like, that's a little bit much for me. Let me start with the 2 or 3 weeks. Maybe I'll get up to 6, but I don't know if I can do it that long. But yeah, I fell into that. Like it was like I had no clients on my books, and I was like, okay, well, I'm not scheduling any podcast recordings. I'm not going to
Yeah.
do any of that. And so I was just like, I couldn't believe how I felt afterwards.
Yeah.
Like how
Is it
peaceful I, yeah, how peaceful I was and how much I enjoyed not doing nothing.
it's a good way to wrap up the year so that you're not
Yeah.
taking things into the next year, that you actually just get to integrate and have that time and really just revel and celebrate for all the things that happened in the year.
Yeah, it was so beneficial, and I will never not do it again. So much so, I've already went to December and blocked off 2 weeks. It
Good.
it's already blocked out.
I like that you've changed your framework because you saw the value in it so much that it's like,
Mhm.
okay, it's a minimum 2 weeks, solid, set, golden.
Yeah. So, you're a part of a blended family, right?
Yes.
You have two young boys. How old are they?
Well, we are in the thick of teenagehood now. We have a 16-year-old and a 13-year-old, and they're
Okay.
wonderful young men. Teenage years are definitely some work.
Yes. I've been there and I've done that, and I will be praying for you, okay?
Thank you.
Yeah, so I didn't know if my kids were gonna make it out of the teenage years. They were gonna be dead, and I was gonna be in jail for killing them because they drove me so crazy. And it was like they were the same at the same age. So the like middle school, that seventh grade year, it was like I was like, I'm gonna take him out. I'm taking him out. And then my oldest son, he got older. He went to high school. Then my younger son was in the seventh grade, and I was like, okay, okay, God, I see the pattern. I see it.
Yeah.
So maybe he will survive because I know that I'll be able to get to the other side. With those, some of those years, I think once we got to maybe sophomore, junior year started to ease up a little bit, but then senior year got a little bit, the chest got a little bit bigger and poofed up, and you know, I don't know.
Yeah. We definitely like we've had to approach it slightly differently because the boys, their mom passed away 5 years ago before I met
Hmm.
them. So we've been working with psychologists to make sure that they're navigating that and like how to navigate the rest of their life with that. So I've done some reading about what happens in the brain for adolescents, which is from
Mhm.
12 until 26. 26 is when the brain fully develops your frontal cortex for executive functioning
Yeah.
and organization happens there. And so, what we've learned, because we're very much parenting different than we experienced when we were younger, is when all of a sudden one of them, I'm like, they start thinking through molasses, is what I said the older one was doing. I'm like, okay, but you worked well last week. And then this week, I'm like, why is this so challenging? And I've definitely used chat to be like, okay,
Right.
what developmental stage is my 16-year-old at right now? Because I feel like he's thinking through molasses. And they're like,
Oh,
this is what's going on. I'm like, oh, so you need grace and we need to calm
yes.
down and we need to take
Yes.
a step back and be like, okay, you need a few more reminders this week or like just a little bit more gentleness. So then it doesn't create chaos for us because we're like, oh man, like I feel terrible that I was like, why is this so complicated? You just have to tell us these three things, but you can't do that. And they're like, oh,
Yeah.
why not? And then I'm like, oh, because your brain is rewiring right now and you can't remember what size your shoe is. Like,
Oh
so
my goodness.
it's the only thing that's keeping us from feeling like we might want to have challenges with them that way too. Like I might end up in jail because it's like, oh, how many times do you have to be told where the ketchup goes?
Right. It's so crazy.
Yeah,
That you grow up with them,
you
right?
do.
You grow
Yeah,
up
you
and you
do.
learn with them. And my boys have been my greatest teacher, my most challenging adventure and the most rewarding. So
100%.
it's crazy the journey we've been on, and they are so freaking amazing. So I'm so glad we made it through those years. And like I said, I'll be praying for you guys that they don't kill you and that you don't kill them. So
Fingers crossed.
I know, yeah, but it's boys are just so special. Being a boy mom is just it's something special. So I pray that you enjoy it. Uh,
It is
yeah,
very different. Like, I definitely understand that women think differently than men. I never really
yeah,
thought it was true before, but now I can't unsee it.
yeah,
But it is incredible to
yeah.
see how they move about the world and what kind of men they are turning into, and how
Hmm.
just it is really special to be able to be a part of their lives.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. So, Carissa, how did intentional routine, because I know you did it, I know you put them in place. How did intentional routines and organization, how did that environment help to create the stability and the emotional safety that they needed?
It was pivotal because, like I said, when I moved in with them 4 years ago, it had been almost 2 years since their mom had passed away. So it was just a house full of
Mm,
bachelors. And so I came in and created that structure of like, okay, we've got a bedtime at this time. We wake up at this time. Meals are kind of at
mm,
this time so that their nervous systems could calm down because they could anticipate what was going on, and
mhm,
expectations of what the responsibilities are very clear so that it's the same thing all of the time. It's not, okay, today we're going to get mad about this because you didn't do this. It's like, no, these are our structure. This is our routine that we have, and everything is very transparent and explained. And it actually gives them a framework to bounce against, especially at this age, because they want to test boundaries. So they're
oh,
going to test and push and see what they can get away with. I'm like, well, good try, but you do have to wash those dishes. They don't just get to go in the dishwasher because
yeah.
their job is to hand wash the dinner dishes. But I'm like, hey, I appreciate the effort you're trying to get out of. Great. But for them having that routine and the expectation that we're going to be ready for tomorrow, tonight, so that the next
Mm,
day, especially with their teenage brains, goes smoother because you're less likely to forget things because you had a clear head the night before and you're preparing ahead of time. So it's creating skills that they're going to need as adults here. And it works well for us as the adults too, because you're thinking ahead, you're creating a system that allows you to have more peace and grace in your day because it's not like, oh, well, I got to get to work in 5 minutes, but I don't know where my lunch kit is because I forgot to bring it in from my truck and all of these things. But it's really fun to see in the boys because they've gone to, we call them auntie, but they're friends of the family. And then they see the lack of structure that happens there. And the 13-year-old was like, why wouldn't you just have had that ready yesterday? Why did you go from your clothes to your jeans when you had to put your dress clothes on? He's like, that doesn't make any sense. And I'm like, this is so good. So good.
So good. I love that. Yeah, my son used to be like that. He would come home and be like, Mom, can you believe? I'm like, listen, everybody doesn't live like us, right? It's okay. So, Charissa, tell me about the Relentless Couple. And inside of that, what role does organization play in a healthy relationship, especially when you bring two people from with two different habits, backgrounds, and life experience into one home?
So it's really important to look at what strengths each one is bringing and like where the education is, right? I'm very organized in my schedule. My husband likes to have chaos in his schedule.
Okay.
So I'm like, all right. I'm like, see how you're creating your own misery. Or there'd be times where I'm just like, okay, you got to relax a little bit. There's got to be a little bit of spontaneity that can happen. So what are the glass balls that you think are glass balls, but there's actually some rubber balls in there that you can let bounce? Like, what is the priority of everything? Instead of trying to juggle everything, what are the main things that need to happen and what can happen later and what doesn't matter if it never happens at all? Because when you get into that situation where you have two different people, there's some things that become less of a priority. And it's like, oh, we don't have to do that. But these are the things like family is a glass ball. Each of us as an individual is a glass ball, and filling our cups that way and making sure we're okay. Those are glass balls. Whether or not we get to go on a trip this year, that's a ball that can bounce. And like you're really looking at the structure of what is the priority and how much capacity do I have? Because that's really important to look at. You can have these grand designs, but every day your capacity is going to be slightly different. So what's the priority today? Right? And just be really honest and honoring that. So inside the Relentless Couple, what my husband and I are teaching people is like we come from a background, we're both entrepreneurs. We are also organic farmers, and he works in the oil field, and we're raising two teenage boys. So we don't have a small life that it doesn't have a lot of moving parts to it. So what it started is showing people five basic habits of how to get hold of your life to be healthy, happy, and in alignment for what you're creating all the time. And it's, getting up a few minutes early. It's working on your mindset. It's moving your body. It's eating intentionally and working on self-mastery. Because if you can master yourself, there's nothing that you cannot move through in life. And 99% of the things that are going to happen in life are going to be unexpected. So if you know how to contain yourself and your emotions and not be triggered by a whole bunch of things, then no matter what is presented, you'll be able to work through that too, because you've proved to yourself you can do hard things with all of these little habits you do every day. It's that depositing into your belief. I can do hard things because I just did 250 burpees in the gym this morning, right? And just like, okay, we got a sick kid today. We got a pivot, right? Flat tire on the road, radiator exploded. Like those things happen, and never when you expect them, and never at a convenient time. Right. So how do you navigate that? Are you going to throw a tantrum? Or are you going to be like, okay, so this is an appearance of an inconvenience. Do I have the things I need to be able to navigate this? Am I okay? What's important here? Yeah. And so it was just really showing people real life practical applications, because when you're done the program, you can continue on without us. And that's my favorite part about it, is you have all of the building blocks that you don't need me. And hopefully by that time you have more self-belief in yourself. So they're like, okay, cool. I liked working with you guys, but I've got my blueprint. I know how to use it. I know that it works for me, and I can continue for the next 50 years and be successful for the next 50 years.
Love that.
Yeah.
So many couples struggle with conflict around clutter, routines. You're just talking about that, responsibilities in the home. What mindset shift helps couples move from frustration to partnership when creating order together?
So the biggest thing you have to realize it's you and your partner together against anything. It's not you
Mhm.
against your partner, it's the two of you. And Tyler and I have this rule because you have different days where each of you struggle, right? So
Mhm.
if Tyler's having a day where he's struggling, I will take up some of the slack, but it's also one of those I love you harder on your hard days. I
Oh,
don't pull my love away because you're having a hard day. I lean
right.
into you so that you're not
Mm.
alone on your hard days, right? And so it's something that we do back and forth. And just really looking at when two people come together, you're bringing your history with you. So again, this all comes back to that self-mastery piece, looking at healing things from previous relationships, healing things with parents, partners, anything like that, because it's all going to show up. And there's definitely been times where I'm like, okay, take a step back. I'm like, I didn't create that. That's a previous relationship thing. I think you need some space to go work on that. I'll be here when you want to
Mhm.
come talk about it and
Mm.
realize that every person, if you haven't done that work on yourself from a past relationship, it's coming back in full tilt in this new one.
Absolutely.
And and it's okay that it does. It's how you handle that. That's going to be the greatest determining factor of how you do in this relationship. Because when you get that healthy relationship for you is going to be the most challenging because it is a safe container for all of those unhealed parts of you that are going to come out and having that honoring for your partner that it's like, hey, I've got space for you to not be okay. And I've got space for you to go work on that. And I'm going to be here with you at the end of it. Because
Mm.
a lot of times people are like, oh, toxic relationships are so bad, but they're easier because you don't really get to a depth. But when you get into a healthy relationship, there is endless depth and all of that crap comes to the surface.
Yeah.
So it
It
is,
challenges you to be a better person. It challenges
yeah,
you not to stay where you are, and that's the benefit of having a healthy relationship.
yeah. And it's something that you have to work at and honor. It's like a garden you have to tend every day. And you have to make
Mm.
sure that you are pouring into yourself so that you can be your best version and show up as the best partner because you're coming from a fulfilled place. If you are expecting your partner to fulfill you, you're not honoring the container that you're in. Right? Nobody can
Mm.
make you happy but you. Nobody can make your
Yeah.
partner happy but them. So I will own 100% of I'm working on myself and being my best version to give you the best wife. And
Oh,
Tyler's doing the best thing for him to give me the best husband while being the best people we can be so that we can also be the best parents, the best coaches, people in all of the capacities that we are. But it starts with who are we being for ourselves first.
love that. Oh, that's
Yeah.
so good. So you talk about non-negotiables and discipline. What are a few non-negotiable habits that help people to stay aligned physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually while they're building what we call the organized life?
So some of our non-negotiables are reading one page of a self-development book because when you're reading, you're opening yourself to new ideas. You're not repeating stories in your head, right? So it allows you to break free from limiting patterns. Non-negotiable movement, whatever that looks like for you, walking around the block, doing some body weight squats, getting some sort of movement in. Not only is it good for your joints and for your overall metabolic health, it actually helps you work through emotions because emotions actually have
Mm,
three stages. They have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And a lot
mhm,
of times they get stuck in the middle because if we don't feel like we're in a safe place, we can't work through that emotion. So if you can get
mm,
yourself moving around, it gets that emotion to go through the body. Like if you're really angry, especially as females, because we don't have constructive ways that we're taught to work through emotions, do some push-ups. Even if they have to be from your knees, do push-ups until you can't do push-ups anymore. Burpees are even better because it's really hard to think about anything other than trying not to hit the ground. Right? Yeah. I'm like, okay, did I catch myself? Because then
Yeah.
you're focused on what's happening in the present for you.
Yeah.
You're not sitting and ruminating about, oh, Tequila said this to me and I was really upset about it, and like go down a story about it. It's like, okay, I feel angry or frustrated, burpees. It's like when I had to figure out how to navigate the teenagers in the house when they first started becoming teenagers. I'm like, because I grew up in a household where my mom would yell and scream. Right.
Yes.
So I'm like, okay, I don't want to do that, but I feel like doing that right now. So I'd start doing burpees in the kitchen. And the boys would be like, we're going that way. Like this is not good.
They don't know what to do with that.
And I would do burpees until I didn't feel like yelling anymore. So I move that emotion through in a positive way. Right. And the other thing is 15 minutes earlier. Get up 15 minutes earlier because everybody complains that they don't have enough time. And in those 15 minutes, do something for you. Write in your journal. Have a hot cup of coffee all the way through. Imagine that. Just focusing, 5 minutes on that cup of coffee, favorite mug, sitting in the quiet and enjoying it, because then that sets the tone for your day.
Yeah.
Right? All of these are very simple things. They don't cost you anything. It just takes a little bit of effort, and then it can help you transform your life because you're looking at how am I moving through my day? If you're about to get angry and you're out in the grocery store, start doing some air squats in the grocery aisle. It literally will help you. You might feel ridiculous doing it, but that's okay. You're not going to have that anger or whatever held inside of you.
Yeah, that's so good. This is my final question. If someone listening today, they feel like their life has been shaped by chaos, trauma, or even difficult circumstances, what's one small, powerful step that they can take today to begin create order and peace and in a forward momentum?
I always tell people to make a micro change, right? So make a micro change that's betting on yourself. So stick to it. Am I going to get up 15 minutes earlier? Am I going to sit and have a 5-minute coffee meditation? Whatever you want that. But start it and do it until it becomes a habit that you don't have to think about it. Because every time you do that one little micro habit that bets on you, you're adding a deposit into that bank. And the more that you believe in yourself, the more that you'll show up for yourself. And the more you show up for yourself, the more you respect yourself, the more you respect for yourself, the more you ask for in life for yourself. But it just starts with that one little tiny deposit of, I'm going to believe in myself today. And today that looks like I'm getting up 15 minutes early. And I'm going to keep doing that because I believe in myself.
Love that. Thank you so much, Charissa, for being here. You have been awesome, giving us some great nuggets and some very thoughtful insight. I really appreciate that because we gotta start thinking outside of the box, right? Everything is not cookie cutter, and you've really given us some things to think about today.
I really appreciate the opportunity to be here. I love showing people that it doesn't have to be expensive or grand, that really just betting on yourself is always going to be your best way forward.
Yeah. So tell the Organized Life listeners, if you want to leave with one, your biggest takeaway, that would be great. And then also just tell us where to find you, where we can connect with you, where can we find the Relentless Couple.
Absolutely. So the biggest takeaway is do not be scared to organize your life the way that suits you. Don't try and take somebody else's version and make it yours. Take the principle behind it and be like, what do I like from that? And create what organized to you looks like and feels good. And you really thrive in that environment. So really focus on you. Make it
Yeah.
yours. We're all supposed to be completely unique. So it's okay if your version of organized looks different than mine or Tequila's.
Yes. Oh, love that. Great.
Yeah.
And where can we find you in the Relentless Couple?
So Instagram is where we're the most active. So for me directly is at Charissa Halonen on Instagram or at the Relentless Couple. It is just Tyler and I talking on that. There are no bots. So if you have any questions, feel free to send us a DM. I'm so happy to get any questions. Doesn't cost anything. I promise I will be the person to answer it, or Ty. And then on Charissa, it's definitely me, the one answering there. But I welcome any questions.
Awesome. Just a little side note, my son, middle name is Tyler.
That's awesome. I love the synchronicities in life.
Yeah. He's Miles Tyler. I love his name.
No.
Well, thanks again. Thanks once again for being here. We loved having you and all the nuggets that you gave us.
Oh, thank you.
So if you guys would love to if you have a question that you would love answered here on the Organized Life Podcast, or if you would like to be a guest here on the Organized Life Podcast, feel free to send us an email at info@extremeaudacity.com. We'll have all the information for Charissa inside the show notes in the description. And for being here on the podcast, we'll have that information for you too. And I have some exciting news. We have the Organized Life Masterclass coming up. So go ahead and check the description for that. We are talking all things organization, how to get your life organized and how to maintain that without being burnt out and buying more bins. So be on the lookout for that. If you are putting a strategy or a system in place that is not saving you space, time, energy, and money, you want to think it, you want to rethink it, tweak it, do whatever you need to do to change it, to do more of what's working for you, so that you can save in all 4 areas: space, time, energy, and money. And until next time, ciao.